Welcome back to another episode of the 4Q podcast. My name is Sheena Shui, and as always, this podcast is brought to you by my two businesses, Savasana Collective Psychology and Social Work, and Therapist VA, where we help health professionals start, grow, and scale their businesses. Now, today's topic is going to be around what are the 4 personality types that play out in your workplace, in your career, with your staff, with clients, all of that. What are these 4 personality types that come out when people are anxious, stressed, and under pressure? Now, these 4 types are based on the work of Pete Walker, the author. He wrote a book called around trauma and stress, and these 4 types are based on his work. Now, let's start with the leader. The leader is somebody who really knows how to get shit done. They're active, they take action, they move fast, they move quickly, they are decisive a lot of the time. They have big energy, very big energy. They can also be a bit of a love bomber. So leaders tend to show lots of affection, lots of love. On the flip side of the leader, they can be a bit short when they're stressed. They can be a bit defensive and almost a little bit attacky. They can take things really personally. And so a healing leader looks like someone who wants to react to negative feedback, but takes their time and responds. So that the learning for the leader is to how to take time and respond rather than react, because their quick reactivity is great for when it's a positive space. So let's take action. Let's make this idea into a reality. Let's push. Let's go. This is what needs to happen. That's excellent. But when something negative happens, or when there's, issues in the team or with the client, they can be very reactive sometimes and take it quite personally because they're passionate and they care. So leaders care a lot, and they've got the energy to hold the space for people and really take action. So when it comes to clients who are like this, these are the clients that will show you so much praise, so much, they'll leave you positive testimonials, actions, and all of that. But if they aren't addressed properly, taken care of, these are also the people who, instead of just going, oh, okay, you're not getting my business, these are the people that will leave negative emotions, negative feedback, all of that. Negative Google reviews. You've got to be careful in that. So they can be super positive, but sometimes super negative. So it's just about validating these people and validating their experience. So leader is one of the 4 types. And just to summarize, the other types are the high achiever, the people person, and the calming presence. So we've covered the leader. The high achiever is similar to the leader in that they're great for taking action. So the leaders and the high achievers are both doers. They both get shit done, but the high achievers aren't as invested in people, and they're not consciously aware of that. They're not doing it on purpose. But these people, when something stressful happens, they tend to run away from emotion, run away from people, and just throw themselves into work. So in stress, they're not reacting to people. They're not reactive, but they just throw themselves in and obsess about what they're doing to the point where they neglect themselves. So the high achievers tend to be the ones most prone to burnout, because they can just go, because they, again, similar to the leaders, again, they're both on the action side of things. They're both on the adrenaline, cortisol, stress side of things. So, but the the high achievers are almost a little bit softer than the leader in that they're not as reactive. So, the high achievers do tend to respond and not be as reactive as the leader. They don't move as quickly, but they tend to be workaholics similar to the leaders. So, but the high achievers are really sort of perfectionistic. They throw themselves into their work and they get a lot of achievement and worth through their work. So the high achievers are workaholics. They're the ones that just throw themselves into everything. And the negative side of the high achievers is they burn themselves out. They will sacrifice time with family, relationships, their workouts, all of that for getting the goal done. They don't take good care of themselves and they tend to obsess about the work. So as in a workplace, you can see how that could be positive, but these people will burn themselves out and they can't let go of things because they can sometimes control the situation because they're so obsessive about their work. So the leader can see the bigger picture, unlike the high achievers sometimes. The high achievers sometimes get a bit of tunnel vision, unlike the leaders who can see the bigger picture, which is why the high achievers are the result getters, but they're not the leaders. Okay. So, but there needs balance. You can't have all leaders in an organization, all high achievers. You need that balance of people who can go, let's just get to it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's delegate. And the high achievers are the ones who are like, yep, give it to me. I will get it done. So there's that. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, the other two types are very similar too. So you've got the calming presence and you've got the people person. These two types are vital for every workplace. And sometimes they can be a little overlooked, but they are the glue in this organization. These are the people who will hold the shit together because the leaders and high achievers, admittedly, are high energy, high intensity, and you need people to balance that out. You need people who are people. So they're not just about the work, but they're also about the connections and the relationships and all of that. So the people person is great in socializing, in making sure that everybody's happy, in keeping the team together, really is that people person of they're charismatic, they're great in group situations, all of that. But the downside of the people person is they sacrifice their own needs just to keep people happy. So when they're under stress, they just go, you just tell me whatever you want and let's do that. I'll support you. Let's do what you want to do. Oh, you want to eat Italian? Yep, let's do that. Like they do not have an opinion on things, which they're yes people. When they're under stress, they're yes people. So that's sort of the not so great side of the people person, is that they're too giving, they're too sort of submissive sometimes. And what happens is they end up being resentful because they don't articulate their needs and they don't articulate their wants. And so the challenge for the people person is to have a voice and to stand up for themselves and not give in to others when they're under stress, because that's their thing, is they don't like conflict and they just want the conflict to end. So they just give in very quickly. They just do, yep, I'll do what everybody else makes happy. So that's the people person. The calming presence on the other hand is the person who doesn't get too stressed and seems to sort of just chill out in stress. But what's really happening is they're shutting down. So the calming presence isn't the person that reacts in stressful situations. They're the person that kind of, seemingly sometimes doesn't take it seriously enough. And that's not a bad thing. We need those people who go, that's okay, I'm not the person to deal with this. But, they keep shit together in that they're not overreacting like everybody else in that circumstance. So the calming presence is also really important in your workplaces, in your businesses, in your careers, because they are calm. They're not reactive. They tend to shut down, but similarly to the people person, they tend to not articulate their needs because they aren't reactive enough almost. So these people, in their default stress position is being a calm presence, but almost to the point where they don't seem to take issues seriously enough, or they're not engaging enough. And that can really annoy the leaders and the high achievers. The calming presence are almost too calm for them sometimes. And they're like, why aren't you reacting? But it's great to have those people in your sphere all around. So that's just a little taste of the 4 types. If you want to know more about that, we've got a free quiz and you can figure it out, like you and your teams, what type you are, and we break down what that looks like for yourself, for your relationships, for your career, a lot more in detail in our little email series that you get after you take the quiz. But remember, just ask yourself, what type am I? The people person, the calming presence, the leader, or the high achiever? What are the 4 types am I? Who else is around me in my circle of business, career? And how can I value each of the types a bit more and use them to their strengths and to their not so good traits? All right. Thank you for being here for another episode of the 4Q podcast. My name is Sheena Shui, and if you want to take that quiz, I'll pop it in the show notes. All right. I will see you in the next episode of the 4Q podcast. Bye for now.